Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WGL EU. We're kicking things off a little bit earlier today to get diving headfirst straight into our pre-playoffs. Day number 1. We've had our regular season. It was exciting, especially our last match week, Oliver. But now we're into the nitty-gritty. Now we're here to find out which two teams out of the 4 we have today are going to make it through to the finals.
Exactly. Tornado Rocks and Team Supreme have already gone to the finals. Obviously, Team Supreme basically not losing anything this season, going in first place. Tornado Rocks, thanks to some results on Thursday, going in second. But yeah, today we'll be finding out at least one team who will go to the final to join those two, and tomorrow we'll find out the second team who will be going there as well.
That's right. So let's have a look at the season rankings. This is how it all ended up after 11 weeks of play. And you guys be able to have a bit of an idea exactly what we're looking at here today. So, of course, as you said, Supreme and Tornado Rocks, they make it straight through to our finals. But, of course, VPro, Cazacru, Synergy, Penta Sports, those are the teams we're looking at here as well to see who's going to make it through. And you can see here, highlighted, of course, are the teams who snuck on through. Now, we knew that Penta was, a bit of a shaky one. They had to sort of win their last game to get through. They just snuck in over Utopia, who, of course, had a fairly ugly end of the season. And Wusa, we do see, getting auto-relegated.
Yeah, we had a really interesting match week last week. I think today is going to be super interesting as well, because to be honest, like we've seen in time and time again previous seasons, that yeah, okay, the online phase we've got a lot of interesting results in close matches, but really when everything counts, when everything's on the line, like today, it changes. You know, yes, okay, you got VPro and Penta Sports today, the first match. It theoretically should go the way of VPro, but Penta will be wanting this a lot. And that's what's going to make the game even closer. Yeah,
what you get as well is almost like halfway between online and LAN here. Yeah. You know, how things can just, could get completely blown out of the water at LAN. Some teams you would never expect to sort of be on top. Like in Sophia, where our 2 teams who qualified today, 2 both dropped out before the grand final. So, these teams now, they know there's a lot more to play for. And let's have a look at the bracket for today and, of course, for tomorrow and see how it's all going to play out. Our quarterfinals are up first, so we're going to be able to get into those ones. First came off the rank, VPro, Penta, going up against Cazacru and Synergy. Yeah,
so today it's going to be about that top half, basically. We're going to see in the first 2 games, we're going to be seeing the semi-finals. Whoever wins the semi-finals will be going over to the finals. They would have 100% qualified in 3rd place to be joining Team Supreme and Tornado Rocks. Tomorrow we'll be seeing the losers bracket, round 1, losers bracket finals. Whoever wins that will be going as well to the finals as well. So you got a lot of interesting matches coming up. Of course, Cazacru Synergy, the second match of today. It's all up in the air at this point. We really have no clue.
Absolutely, especially because the last time that they played was way back in week 1 or 2, so really, really early on in the piece here. So, Cazacru Synergy will be that match. VPro going up against Penta. Going to be an interesting one here. Penta, luckily, they very much did just sneak in towards the playoffs. They got the wins against those teams when it counted, but those big results against those big teams, we didn't see many of them this season.
Yeah, I mean, Utopia kind of allowed themselves to get beaten in the last match day, which also put them in there. Ding had a shaky result as well against ASAP. They got 5-0'd, and Penta managed to beat Wusa. So there was like 3 results that really did contribute to Penta Sports joining us here in the playoffs, quite luckily, but they did, of course, manage to do it. And they've had some shaky results for sure, but I think they deserve to be here. They're one of the top teams. Last season, they had a good showing. And I think this season, if they got those issues sorted, they should have a good run.
Yes, well, of course, ladies and gentlemen, as per the usual, it is time to say hello to the lovely Melly down the end here on the desk. Now, Melly, what would a WGL Finals be like without VPro? We may even find out today.
I can't imagine that, and I think most of community can't as well. I mean, VPro has been there for forever, as it feels, and they were always on the finals. They never missed the finals, did they?
No, they've been on every single final since season 1.
So I think there are good chances that I can make it, but we have a lot of strong teams in this group stage this time. Well, they're usually strong teams, don't get me wrong, they made it to the group stage, but sometimes you can see like a trend, oh, they will struggle, they will have a hard time, but those are really, really strong teams from the start to the end, and it's going to be really tough for each team to qualify for the finals.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here, we probably had 5 good teams, 5 teams that probably could justifiably have made it straight through to the finals through those top 2 spots here. So now we have this situation where we have honestly 3 very strong teams and Penta, who's now showing some sort of resurgence here in our bracket. So it's going to be tough. I mean, what would the finals be like without Kazna Crew? We might even find that out as well. They have to fight into the finals themselves here. Normally they qualify straight through at least to day 1 of the finals. You know, we used to have a bigger sort of pool of teams for our finals. We're cutting it down to 4 this time. So it means that these online matches in these playoffs mean so much more.
I would say this is actually a super risky time for Kazna Crew because they've always managed to scrape themselves to the finals. And then they've like kicked themselves up a gear. They've gone into the offline mode and they just absolutely wrecked. Now they're playing online against Synergy, who seem to be a good online team. Kazna Crew would need to go into that mindset of the offline finals to be able to win here, I think.
That's right, and that's the thing. Kazna has always been a little bit of a shaky element in the online factor. Yeah, when they get to LAN, when they get to the live stage, it's fine for them. It really is.
I mean, it's already a season of upsets if you see it from that perspective. As you guys already said, VPro or Kazna Crew were always one of the teams that qualified directly, and now they're in the group stage, and 2 other teams made it directly in the finals. So the season 1, 2015-2016 is already promising enough, and people, your opinions matter. So head over to Twitter and use the hashtag WGLU to tell us who do you think will advance to the grand finals, no, to the season finals, to the grand overall finals of the season. Let's phrase it that way. Or, well, if you want to give in your predictions for the next match, you're very well welcome to do so. You can also head over to facebook.com/WGLU and get your predictions straight through us to your to the Facebook app. And also, well, let's see the trend of the community for whom they're voting by clicking on the team logo.
That's right. So do get
and
your
bonus
votes
codes. How can I forget the bonus codes?
Well,
I'm so
right.
sorry.
All you gotta do, get your vote in. If you're the first person with the correct vote,
First 3.
First 3.
Let's make it 5 because it's group stage.
Yeah.
Melly's just making it rain over here, boys. All right. Good. Our first game today is going to be VPro going up against Penta. We talked a little bit about the other one, but let's put this one on the microscope a little bit more now. VPro, super strong start to the season. Then we sort of found they'd start to flounder a little bit, dropping some sort of upset results. The tiebreaker loss to Ding really hurt them as well. They got pushed very far by some teams that maybe had no right to be doing so, and of course that loss to Synergy really crushed them. However, the last few weeks, Oliver, have been a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, they managed to go 4-5 against Team Supreme, obviously the best team in the season. Very, very close games. Kind of threw away on their last round on steps.
Oh, yeah.
But it was hella close, and I think VPro have got their kind of issues sorted here. If they had won that one, they would have had a possibility of overtaking Tornado Rocks, so of course that didn't happen. So yeah, I think Virtus are looking better, they're looking on form, and we should see some good games today. I think Penta, pretty much the same story. Going through the season, a little bit shaky here and there, but towards the end, they seem to have got those issues fixed. So I think this match is going to be super close. We've got Ruinberg and Mines as the first 2 maps. Penta choosing Ruinberg, unsurprisingly, almost 70% over 16 rounds win ratio for them. And if you look at VPro, not such good results on that map, only 46%. And Mines, which is, to be honest, you know, being a kind of stronghold in that last matchup for Penta, you know, when they played against Ding, for instance, that's going to be chosen by Virtus, so that should be a really good match.
If you're Penta right now, you should be arguably quite happy with these map picks here. Ruinberg, we've seen that quite a few times now, and what we have sort of decided, we've deliberated, is that those teams that are getting those 3-1 victories, that's the difference between your good teams and your great teams on that map at least. So, you know, if Penta or VPro, if it be the case, can get, you know, that attacking round sort of up their sleeve on this one here, it's going to really help as we go down the track. Mines has always given rise to some really, really cool results, some great battles as well, some pretty cool highlight clips. We've seen them throughout the season. They're going up on our YouTube channel as well towards the end, so do keep your eyes up for those ones. And that's going to be intense as well. If we think back, you know, VPro up and down on Mines, actually, they did well against Kazna on Mines, so earlier in the season, but then the way Mines played out, the shape of that map really changed a lot as the season went on. Teams were doing all this sort of different stuff, and a great example, of course, is VPro up against Supreme on that one, sort of, which was intense as well. And we've seen Synergy pull up some amazing stuff on that map.
Yeah, I think the meta of Mind has changed completely. I think at the beginning of the season, we saw a lot of, you know, defensive aggression. We saw a lot of flanking from a lot of teams. But how it's changed is the attacking team's always one that going forwards, making all the moves. The defensive team's more reactive. The only kind of exception to that rule would be heal play. You know, sometimes a defensive team gets that hill with the T54 lightweights, almost certainly wins, or just tries to go offensive at the beginning to catch out that attacking aggression onto the hill. So yeah, you got some changes within the season, which is always great to see. But my prediction for this first matchup, I think Ruinberg is it's such a hard one call. Yes, okay, you know, Penta's got good results on here, but still, you don't have to play amazingly to get a 2-all scoreline here. And looking at the way Virtus Pro played against Supreme on Mines, it's going to be a tricky match for Penta.
Yeah, I think so. We saw some really, really good adaptations, not even just in general between the games, but also mid-round from Virtus Pro as well. Both teams sort of, you know, constantly countering each other with strategies in these maneuvers, so it'll be very, very good to see. Ruinberg will be the one to start us off, so let's have a look at the map of Ruinberg.
Ruinberg, a mixed-type map. The defending team starts the battle on the green, and the attacking team starts at the central square of the town. Bases are located quite far from each other. Both bases are better controlled from the village. It's better to attack the first base through the top direction with the help of several well-armoured heavy tanks. For the attack on the second base, it's better to use a more mobile setup and either play through the centre or split forces. In general, the map is not easy to play on. Teams often use blind shots and risky shifting of the forces from one flank to another.
All right, it's time to get started with our pre-playoff day number 1. And it is Penta going up against Virtus Pro here. And you will notice that first things first, our colours are switched over. So Virtus Pro are actually blue, Penta are red. Good luck keeping up with that one here. But we're on the rollout here, of course. And what do we have here, of course, Oliver? Pretty standard lineups here. IS3 heavy from Virtus Pro on that blue side. Whereas Penta are going with a couple of lightweights here. A bit of a mix for them.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got a really heavy aggression from Penta even, of course, down the 0 line. And this could actually catch Virtus Pro at the beginning. This should catch them out, as they are just going to go straight across that 0 line, going to push and try and do some early damage.
Yeah, but Penta have the numbers right now, and you can see them pushing straight on towards, but Messi gets hammered with a big hit. And he's stopped in his tracks right now, as a shot's going to go towards Pablo as well. They're looking at Breakneck. They know he's a threat right now with the 1390, because he's already picked up Hacky in that ensuing first few shots. Just Coles as well towards the side is taking quite a lot of damage, and the Dead Zone's just trying to even the ledger there from the top of that little hill, and he does well with Messick as well. They're going to pick up one each, and Penta, well, they're doing quite well right now. Virtus Pro only down to those 3 tanks. The IS3s haven't really been a factor right now, and all of the lightweights and the 1390 and the T37 of Virtus Pro have already gone up in smoke.
That super early aggression from Penta has worked out really well. They've taken down a lot of tanks, 4 tanks, despite some maybe questionable focus fire. It has worked out for them now. You can see Virtus Pro a little bit late to the party with those IS3s. That's to be expected. Very slow Russian tank is finally making their way up and towards that that city, and they can still do damage. Pretty much all city on 100% HP, so Penta still needs to play carefully. They need to get the flanks on. They need to make sure they're coming from a couple of angles, and you know, that early aggression, yeah, okay, it's taking down a lot from Virtus Pro, but it didn't take very much time, so Virtus has a lot to play with here.
That's right, and there's those big 3 IS3s now pushing towards, but it's great focus fire from Penta on towards Bishop there. He goes down to about half health, and they need to keep doing that here. As you can see, Messick very fortunate to even be alive right now with 13 points of health, but his gun is in the game, and that's going to make all the difference if push comes to shove here in this little cityscape. You can see the Dead Zone and the new multi-show have, well, new multi-show with 3 shots, Dead Zone with 5. It's enough to get that burst out. But once new multi-show has let those rip, he's not going to be able to assist further in the fight. That's why he's just, you know, it's a tough one. You got to weigh up. Do I reload now? Are they going to fight us now? Or do I just hold these and just use them if I can? You can see Kusok and Bishop both quite low. Yes, Coca-Cola is essentially untouched here. Penta got to be careful. A lot of their firepower rests on those autoloaders, and they need to be very, very discerning with how they fire those shots.
Yeah, so some damage going towards Killer Pit, but you can see Raven, HR, and that WZ131 wants to start the cap. Just try and split Virtus Pro away from that city area. Make sure that they can't just try and, you know, get the side scrapes on with those IS3s and do damage towards Penta's pretty low HP tanks. You can see that almost all of them are not on 100% HP. Basically, all of them are not on 100% HP, and new multi-show is just getting exchanged on very badly.
Coca-Cola, Kusok, and Bishop all got unanswered shots over towards new multi-show here. He wasn't able to respond at all. That's the first bit of damage that Coca-Cola has taken. And you know, he really isn't being punished for the damage he's been doing right now. You can see Raven, he's going to make his way over towards the cap. It's going to take quite a while here, over a minute. So we'll be ticking that clock down and seeing how he goes there. But he can't really assist with his team right now because he wants to stay out of range. You can see that shot, he tried to put one towards Bishop there, but didn't quite connect. He will get chunked down bit by bit here. He's going to have to turn and have a look at Raven in a moment here. Good work as well. Kusok takes a hit. Everyone's getting in position here. Penta doing well. They've got the flank care of Raven, and he's honestly, he's doing good with those shots.
Yeah, he's doing very well. It's going to force VPro into an awkward position right now. Killerpit does receive another shell, but New Multi Show is unloading.
Raven realizes there's no point trying to cap right now. New Multi is on the reload. He's got one left. He goes down. Kusok picks him up here. The dead zone's still with 5 shots. Killerpit has a bit of health, but he's got 2 IS-3s to deal with. That's a lot. Raven has to do some serious work very, very soon. He has to take down one of these IS-3s because Killerpit's days are definitely numbered. The dead zone has plenty of burst. He can put it out at a moment's notice, and he has to. And Messig, the guy with only 13 points of health, is still alive, and he's still doing work. He finally goes down, but that's a shot that Kusok has had to expend to take him out. One that he couldn't use over towards that IS-3 of Killerpit. And the dead zone still with 4 in the chamber here. Kusok will get one in towards him. Will it be enough? I don't quite know. He missed it. I don't think he even connected it. So the dead zone will be able to get the better of him here in a 2v2 situation. Dead zone with 2 shots. Raven is still up. Bishop and Coca-Cola are the last 2 standing for VPro. And Bishop is well and truly low.
Super bad move there by Kusok. He had to hit that last shell. Didn't manage to do it. Bishop will have to clean up. And this is just Penta Sports throwing the game 100% towards VPro. The cap will be on the way, and Raven will have to get the decap. There's still a chance, but Raven, you can see, is a 2-shot for those IS-3s, almost 100%. Yeah, this is just Penta just having an advantage, and what they've done the whole season is just not being able to work with those advantages. Of course, those IS-3s were on 100% HP, but you could see so many bad exchanges for Penta. They were just sitting there hoping that Raven would be able to make everything work for them, but I don't know. This is going to be tricky for him. He has to find Bishop. He's the one that is a 1-shot. Coca-Cola is a 3-shot.
That's right. That's going to give Raven a bit of freedom to move around. You can see he's just trying to get a decent vantage point here as both those IS-3s are trying to canvas out as much of the map individually as they can. You can see Bishop is being protected by the hull of Coca-Cola, so it's going to be hard for Raven to pick him off at this point, and Coca-Cola is looking up towards that side of the map. Cleverly, VPro have split their rods here, looking in those 2 different directions, and now they know the Raven, should I say.
Raven is not getting spotted, though. He's behind double bushes. This is impossible for VPro to find him. Bishop does make a blind shot towards him, and Coca-Cola knows he needs to go for him.
All right, Raven now is going to get pushed onto. He knows he needs to get the heck out of dodge real quick. Those 2 IS-3s are trundling over towards him, and the shot from Coca-Cola will pick up some damage at least onto Raven, and he is a 1-shot now. He is a 1-shot. He's well within that 390 alpha range of an IS-3. He has to be careful. 16 seconds left. If he can get a cheeky reset and get out, he might be okay here. But he's going to have to commit to this one. If he wants to go over that middle road, he has to expose himself. There's not enough cover. This is going to be very, very dangerous. Raven's last gambit. Credit to him. He still has some cover here. Might be able to make the shot. He does. He picks up Bishop, and that's going to tick this clock right up to 70 seconds. That's not enough time to Coca-Cola to finish it off. Raven, in a position where so many players before him have failed, seems to have managed to pull it off.
Unbelievable. Brilliant play by Raven, really stepping up for his team. One of the new members of Penta Sports coming into Season 1 2015/16 and just playing brilliantly when it matters the most. 15 seconds left on the clock. Raven, a nimble tier 7 tank, just able to run out of there. Coca-Cola has no chance to keep up.
And so Raven's cruising along at 60 kilometers an hour here. Coca-Cola, well, he's going to try at least. He's just going to hope for some sort of Hail Mary blind shot with 2 seconds left. Make it 1. Coca-Cola can't see his target. He goes for a blind shot, will not connect. And Penta Sports somehow bring that one back. And I've seen, on paper, better teams than Penta stuff that kind of situation up.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams have been in a situation where, despite being ahead in terms of the guns in the game, they're behind in the damage, they're behind in the kind of positions they have, and it definitely didn't help it. But Raven, 100%, you know, he's been playing okay, like mediocre throughout the season, but he did what was necessary, getting the resets on those IS-3s, working their vulnerabilities, and then coming out from behind, hitting that shell straight through the fences, and nailing Bishop there. So great play by him, making the right calls, going the right decisions, getting the timing right, and carrying Penta through that despite some very, very shaky play from some of their players.
And I was saying as well that he would have had limited cover from that position. This is the first reset coming out. He's got good cover here, and he actually had decent cover. He had double bushes actually in the middle of the map as well. He used it really, really good, had the right kind of angle. Here, he gets clipped, I think, by Coca-Cola as he tries to move across, but still, he managed to do a heck of a lot with only 397 points of health.
I would say there's one of the main reasons why VPro lost is that Kusok missed a shell onto the dead zone, which allowed him to do some more damage and I think even get a kill. But I think there was, this game should have been slightly more one-sided to Penta. I think at the beginning their focus fire was pretty bad, so they lost a lot of hit points, which allowed those IS-3s from VPro to make good headway in the city. I think there was a lot of exchanges where they weren't doing any damage back. I think they received about 1,500 damage without doing anything, but that was a brilliant little shot there. Nice shot onto Bishop, takes him down. And well-deserved first round. 2,060 damage by Raven there, so massive props to him.
Definitely what I call a hard carry in that scenario. And we saw that sort of earlier on in the round when the fight was really starting to take shape around that cityscape area. So the multi-show was struggling to do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, the large silhouette of the 5100 means that he was potentially vulnerable from a few different angles around the side of that building if he was going to try and take shots. So he pretty much had to keep his head down. And there was 3 unanswered IS-3 shots coming in his direction because he knew it was so risky for him to poke out and try and make that shot happen. And you notice as well, only about 1,330 damage. It wasn't bad, but really, for a 5100, you want 2 full sort of clips of auto-loaded shots to come out from that one, and then you're sort of starting to be a little bit happier about your performance.
Yeah, I think he should have just taken 1 shot, realized that he wasn't in a good position. He should have just scampered out of there and made himself scarce. But yeah, they managed to get it finally. I think Virtus.pro got caught out by the early aggression. A lot of teams like to put tanks up that 0 line, but they don't like to head over. Like they do sometimes have the T-54 lightweights going hull down on that 0 line road, shooting at those tanks that are coming out from the city, but they don't just push all the way over the 0 line road. They just go, they just went straight in, did good damage, got the overmatches, and 4 tanks of Virtus.pro dropped only for 2.
Yeah, they put a large proportion of their force in that part of the map, and teams have been experimenting with that push shot towards that 0 line. Some teams have been going with 2 IS-3s over in that direction. Some teams have been going with only the 1 tank. We've seen sort of varying levels of success with that one, but it seems like Penta managed to make it work for them. They just chucked all their front-loaded damage in there, the lightweights and the 1390, went straight for it, and got that initial advantage, but they almost let it slip. So they've got to be careful here. It did work out for them, though. So that's honestly props to Penta now on that defensive side. They made it work that first time around. Let's see if they can do it again. They want at least those 2 defensive rounds. They can start to feel comfortable and be fairly happy no matter what happens on Ruinberg. After that point, they've got those 2 rounds in the bag.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be heading to round 2 where Penta's going to be defending again. Virtus.pro, we need to step up here. I think they would love to get an attacking round on the board. Obviously, Penta's not going to be doing the same thing twice, and Virtus.pro will be making changes to the way they play to make sure they can counter that if Penta do. Even though they did have Breakneck in that AMX 3090 in a defensive position. So see what happens here. You can see the T-54s and the AMX 3090s head into that same position. Maybe Virtus.pro calling Penta Sports' bluff and just doing that same thing again. But the LTTB of Hacky is just going to get some early spots out. Just go behind that hull down area, and maybe he's just going to find out where Virtus.pro is going to go at an early stage.
Virtus.pro putting a lot of their force in towards that middle road here, and they're taking a lot of damage as a result. You can see Bishop getting chunked right on down. Virtus.pro moving out to the field, and yes, Hacky, he did some spotting, but now he's surrounded by a lot of enemy tanks. He will drop surely as they move in to try and take him out. And Penta just have to make sure that they can get some value for this trade. They can get some damage in response here, firing out from that cityscape. The new multi-show and the dead zone, both in 5100s this time around. They haven't really connected that to too many shots here. I mean, Karitz and Bishop are wounded. Just Cause takes a hit just now. Penta Sports, they're losing Hacky fairly cheaply.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what he's trying to do. He's just trying to, I think Penta Sports' general, train of thought is just to catch Virtus.pro out. Just do things that are unusual, don't play the standard meta. And by pushing Hacky aggressively, Penta knows where Virtus.pro is going to go. They do some early damage, but, he did kind of look lost in that last stage. Didn't seem to have a real plan of attack. Where do I go when X happens? Can I get out of this situation without receiving too much damage or even dying like he did? But he just went straight into Karitz, and Karitz just did good fire in that good DPM gun on the T-37. So I think it's a pretty even exchange, though. Virtus lost a lot of HP when they went through the middle. Penta lost their LTTB as the cap does begin.
It does start to tick down now as Virtus.pro have moved their tanks on, or at least just the 1390 there. You can see they've moved right on up here to the middle road, so they're definitely keen to take the fight to Penta Sports now. It's going to force them to try and maneuver around the back of them here. They're going to reveal themselves to Karitz here. It's just one street across as Messick and Raven. Often seeing this combination here, try and go for it, but Messick get double tapped there, one from behind, one from front. Karitz now going to start continuing to put some more damage down, and Raven is there to get the final shot in towards him, but still, it's a lot of damage taken now, and Virtus.pro mobilizing over towards the middle of the map. Just Cause is pushed up, so is Povel, because the Raging Potato goes down. It's going to be Killer Pit. The 2 5100s there, just trying to sort of cling together and get their shots concentrated over towards Povel. One shot goes in towards him. His track is damaged, and Killer Pit as well has to deal with 2 IS-3s and a 1390. This huge overmatch scenario here for Virtus.pro. Those free tanks for Penta have to act quickly.
Yeah, they really do. They have to take down Coca-Cola very, very quick indeed. They just have to receive some damage. They've just been bouncing Coca-Cola from the front side, left, right, back. Message needs to hit this final shell, does do it, and now he needs to scamper back to help the rest of his team.
The dead zone new multi-show just backing right on up. You can see that Killer Pit is long since gone in that IS3, and that was an important position that he was holding, a real pivot for Penta Sports. And now Messi and Raven, they have to sort of do something in between them. I don't really know what they can do from here now. As new multi-show and dead zone, they're going to get a lot of damage in towards them, and they've spread it a lot over these Virtus Pro tanks. You'll see that none of them is singularly low, and that's just a problem with them and not being able to get the focus fire. They've just been trying to take the shots that present themselves to them. I mean, it's just going to be a little bit harder. With new multi-show, only one shot left. Then he's going to be useless. Dead zone has 3. It's not enough to deal with all these tanks now. With Raven going down, that was the cavalry that was supposed to help get Penta Sports out of trouble. And now the dead zone and new multi-show, they've got no other choice but to get pushed onto by Virtus Pro. And surely they'll be cleaned up.
Yeah, game over for Penta Sports. Virtus Pro will be putting an attacking round on the board quite easily, actually. I have to say, this wasn't a close round, as Virtus Pro do make it 1 apiece. And yeah, I think issues, I mean, Hacky going down wasn't necessarily a big issue because they got the early damage.
Yep.
I think, you know, Raven and Message pushing in the center, getting the kill onto Karit, but then not doing anything against the IS3 that was sitting in the F line, taking so long to take him down. And that eventually cost Penta because they just couldn't stay in the middle. You can see the 2 IS3s of Kusok and Bishop can just pressure Killer Pit, who's a little bit too far back for my taste, even with Breakneck there. And yeah, if Raven and Message had killed Coca-Cola a little bit earlier on, I think it would have been maybe a different story. Virtus Pro could have still won it. But yeah, also I'm not sure exactly why they chose the 250-100s there. I think one would have done the job, and just pick another IS3 just so they can combat Virtus Pro's IS3s.
You can see there just how quickly Killer Pit went down. He choked up a bit as well. He knew he was getting pushed onto. He'd moved so far back that then to sort of push up the hill and have a shot, he would have had to stop and then take the shot. So he was just in a really bad position in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the LTTB and lightweight combo there of, I think it was Message and Raven in the middle of the city. I mean, what really were they trying to accomplish? They maybe try and outmaneuver and flank, but they took so long, firstly to deal with Karit, then to deal with Coca-Cola in that IS3, to the point where it had to be an extra shot from Message on top, purely because like,
it had to be like
LTTB couldn't finish him off.
3 or 4 extra shells on top. At the end of the day, you know, you're going to receive damage in World of Tanks. It's just how it works. You just need to brave it, have some cojones and push in and just, you know, take what you need to take and do what you need to do. As long as you come out on top, it doesn't really matter in the end. But anyway, I think that's to be expected. 1 apiece is not unusual these days on Ruinberg. I think Virtus Pro is playing well. I think Penta are playing well. I think it could go either way.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all from Penta here. And they do, though, need to get an attacking round now to equalise things up here. And Melly, 1 apiece here. Fairly standard stuff. But, you know, Virtus Pro, I mean, they usually have the vote. Usually do.
Yes.
But against these popular teams, you never know.
Absolutely. I mean, it's still 83% for Virtus Pro.
Yep.
But if we look closer on the predicted scorelines of this matchup, it's... we fairly often see votes for Virtus Pro tend to go in the very same direction, which is 5-1, maximum 5-2. But currently there are a lot of 5-3s and even 5-4s. So I think the community is expecting an even match here, besides of course favoring Virtus Pro.
Sure.
But yeah, and I think they're getting it pretty much.
Well, I mean, that would be interesting, you know, for Penta now to push Virtus Pro to all 9 rounds.
Yep.
I mean, you know, the Virtus Pro off to a good start here. They seem to know exactly when to push on here. I think the problem with Virtus Pro's issue is when someone throws something really wacky at them, something really, you know, a curveball, they struggle to adapt to that.
Yeah, because like, that's not textbook.
Yeah, we don't have it in our flowchart here. We don't really have like a pre-programmed response to this kind of strategy, so what now kind of thing.
It's always been the problem with the super trained teams, especially the Russian and CIS teams. Like, they train so much against the standard tactics. Like, when you rush them or be super aggressive, you just catch them off guard. It's the same as it was like when everything started for World of Tanks in the competitive team. We had the Red Rush. The only team that was able to beat them in European theatre and basically in the whole world was the Evil Panda Squad. They were just super aggressive, and they just had no respect for the Red Rush, and they used to beat them quite often. And that's just how you have to do it.
So maybe a bit of a mix here as well. Penta, a team considerably fairly well drilled as a unit, but maybe throwing a little bit of that, you know, bit of spice. That's what I like. Some habanero. That'll be nice right now. Okay, so let's have a look here though. So Virtus Pro obviously moved to the defensive side here, so they can play a little bit more their style, a little bit more set play, a little bit more set up here. But of course, defending on Ruinberg has its own perils and pitfalls for the unwary, especially if you're sort of forced to overcommit towards getting a reset on that cap number 2.
See, I really like this setup from Virtus Pro. I mean, I get the whole like Penta Sports like say light tanks, but this 4 IS3 stack, I think is pretty beastly, and I think it's hard to defeat. And it's probably the reason why Penta didn't win that last round. Killer Pit on his own in the IS3, you just get wrecked very, very quickly by the AMX 3090 double IS3 combo. So I like that very much from VirtusPro. It's going to be hard to dig out from Penta, even if they get their tactics on point, nailed down, 100% correct. So let's see what they can do. Pushing the 0 line at the moment. This is good, though. I mean, there's no one there from VirtusPro right now, so they can actually get good supremacy here, good map dominance. But still, they'll need to be pushing in. They need to make sure they can segregate and separate Povol and Coca-Cola, who are playing in tandem.
I mean, the real point of taking this 0 line as an attacking team is to deny it from the defending team, to make sure they can't get those flanking shots on the reset. So for Penta to be there, yeah, it's good, but it doesn't mean a whole lot. It doesn't mean that they have this concrete advantage over VirtusPro. It just means that VirtusPro can't use that 0 line to mess up their capture progress. Now you can see the Killer Pit takes a hit there as well. Bishop is in an interesting spot and actually able to bounce one off his side from Messig. Message takes one in response here. So the initial salvo is definitely in favor of VirtusPro right now. And Killer Pit again, finding himself to be the punching bag. He's maybe extended a little bit too far up here. And he has to back right on up between these two buildings. He was really far forward. And with VirtusPro setting up shop on the middle of the road there, look at all the shots they're getting for free. Killer Pit's getting chunked down now as well. This is a terrible start for Penta.
It's a weak link now for Penta Sports. VirtusPro, if they want to win this, they can just push on Killer Pit, get that tier 8 advantage, that one tank down, and then they can just basically size their way through the rest of them. You know, kill the other IS3 Message, and then they've got the backs and sides of Raven, HR, Raging Potato, the Dead Zone, and Hacky. Good blind shot, I believe that was, onto the MX 3090 of New Multi-Show. And yeah, this is just VirtusPro getting good early exchanges. Penta, yeah, okay, they've got the standard positions, but at the moment they're 2k HP down, 3k HP down, and yeah, they have to make sure they can win some of the exchanges, get things all even, and then execute whatever tactic they've got in mind.
A very clean start from VirtusPro here, and you can see in the middle of the city, the Dead Zone is on the move with Hacky in tow. He might just try and pop out and get some shots here from this cheeky little window. The thing is, if he's not in a high-profile tank, it's harder to get shots out from in between the cracks or the broken crags of the building. So the Dead Zone has to push forward a little bit to take those shots, and he can be pushed onto quite easily. Remember, IS3 and an M41 Bulldog are in the north of VirtusPro to do nothing except you know, dissuade any sort of push on the north. So when those two tanks need to be brought into the fight, if things get a bit ugly for VirtusPro in the middle, they can be quite easily. And there's just so much backup here for VirtusPro. It's a huge health point. It's almost 3,000 health points, and that's purely on virtue of the heavier tank lineup that they brought in, and also just these efficient trades that they're having with Penta at length. Yeah,
exactly. VirtusPro are winning this exchange with 2 of their tanks MIA, and you can see now, as soon as Penta Sports starts to go forwards, Kusok gets a whiff of that, and yeah, he is actually going to head into the city, but still, doesn't matter. New Multi-Show gets taken down very quickly, just caused a little bit of trouble.
New Multi-Show barely did anything in this game. He got blind shot down right in that back corner, and he does finally fall. Just Cos will fall as well in response, but look at the damage that's been taken by Penta in response. Raging Potato cops one from Coca-Cola. Breakneck, though, is going to receive a shot from, I'd say, Killer Pit. They're back in the corner. He and Message are there just trying to team up. Another Dead Zone might get pushed onto as well. IS3 and then 41 Bulldog are going to go straight towards that autoloader, and Hacky can already look on in dismay from the middle of the map and try and get some cheeky shots in their direction. Here's the main push from VirtusPro as well. 3 IS3s and a 5100 going towards Raging Potato. Killer Pit and Message is so low, they're going to struggle to repel this assault.
There's no way Penta Sports can win this anymore. They just actually destroyed Killer Pit on his own with Message. Obviously, those two lost their early exchanges to superior positioning of VirtusPro's IS3s, and it doesn't even look like VirtusPro had to break a sweat to win this match. They just have so much HP and firepower that Penta Sports, once again, their lighter lineups in both attacking and defending roles just simply don't work in a lot of these cases unless they do absolutely nail their tactics 100%, which obviously they haven't done. Everything seemed to go wrong for them in this matchup, and that was from the very start.
Including Hacky getting insta-tracked as soon as he moves out on towards the road. A horror round for Penta Sports, nothing going right, but VirtusPro with a very, very strong setup there as well. They pushed forward as well, even as a defending team. They knew that they had those big tanks that had the advantage there. Yep. They had sort of... They had preparations, I guess, for any sort of strategies towards the top side of the map as well. Any sort of funny business from Penta going north would have had to deal with an IS3 and that Bulldog as well. Ridiculous amount of rate of fire on that auto-loading American sort of tank there. It's going to be very, very hard for Penta to recover from this. It feels like they committed those tanks to the 0 line expecting a fight, like they did in the first round. But VirtusPro, they're not just going to fall for that kind of stuff. They're going to sit back and then they're going to use their health points effectively.
Exactly. I mean, all of VirtusPro's IS3s did the highest damage in this game. 1,990, and you've got Killer Pit there, and from Penta only doing 1.1k. So I think, you know, Penta Sports just not effectively trading, not getting the fights where they want them. and you know, just not being able to adapt quickly. It's enough to where Virtus.pro wants to go, and you can see the systematic destruction of Penta Sports as we go through this replay.
Very, very ugly there for Penta in those final moments. So, I mean, what's the answer? You said you'd like this quad IS3 rollout. You like how robust it is on a map like Ruinberg. Do Penta need to take a leaf out of Virtus.pro's book? We spoke about their lineup being a bit varied. It's got the 2 IS3s, a 5100. They had 2 in that second round. Didn't work out very well. I mean, going up against a lineup like Virtus.pro, do Penta give themselves a better chance of winning the round by following suit, maybe?
Well, they need to gamble, right? When you have the lighter lineups, you need to gamble a little bit because you need to find something to take down at the beginning. You know, like on that 0 line or up in the north, you need to find a weakness in Virtus.pro and absolutely destroy it. If you're just in a situation where you're having to go forwards against the heavier tanks, you're never going to win any day of the week, and that's where Virtus.pro really need to win. So I don't think Virtus is going to change anything up here. I think Penta will need to gamble again, probably push up the north. You have to see. I mean, I just don't see Virtus throughout the season doing anything different. When Virtus.pro knows what to do, when they're playing on form, they don't change their tactics up that much because they know it works.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, and you know, you bring up a good point as well about using those light lineups. Penta need to carve out an initial advantage on this map, otherwise they're screwed. The longer the game goes, without them getting rid of a tank or getting rid of a tank for free, as it were, the more sort of you know, up the creek they are. They really need to take out one of those big tanks. With this light lineup, I mean, will they change it up? We could see here, of course, that there is a repick going on here as well. Do you think two 5100s is a really good idea at this stage, or do we want to stay away from that particular strategy?
Well, it's 5100 is one of those tanks where you need to have it in the right position, otherwise it just gets destroyed. It's got no armor, not very much HP for a heavy tank, so if you can get in the right place at the right time, it will do the work for you. It will take down the tanks, but you need it in a position where it doesn't need to brawl necessarily. It has backup if it is brawling, or it's as a sniping position. So, you know, you can think straight away, okay, so 5100 in that F line, the second 5100 somewhere in support, obviously going to be played by New Multi-Show and the Dead Zone. So, yeah, it looks like we're in the game. I would say Virtus.pro look on form right now. There is a possibility, you know, in the attacking round of Ruinberg, one little element, one variable can change, and then you'll see the attacking team just coming away with a win very easily. So it could easily happen this time around as well, but it's going to be tricky for Penta. They really need to up the game. Well,
I mean, as we said at the start of this map, for Virtus.pro to pick up that attacking round, which by and large are a little bit tricky to get, is a very good start for them. And now they can put one defensive round on the board. Now they can put that second one down. And yeah, you know, as good as we've said that Penta have been on mines, Virtus.pro go into the map of their choice with a one-round advantage, and that's hard to surmount, even mentally as well. We've seen Penta, a team of, it's a newer team in this permutation, in this sort of formation, some younger players in the mix as well, and they're still learning to gel as well. Like guys like Raven HR sort of coming in, as good as he is, you know, still sort of learning to gel with the team. New Multi-Show especially, his style sort of coming and meeting in the middle with Penta has been interesting, even speaking to Hacky about it as well. You take this superstar player, you know, from Polish teams, and then you sort of meld him into this much more sort of international team.
He doesn't really speak any English, by the way.
Yeah. So it's hard. I can see it's hard. He's a good player, but you can see sometimes his ability is going to waste in some of the situations Penta find themselves in.
But that's the story of New Multi-Show. Like, everyone's like, oh, his ability's going to waste. The dude's not a team player, full stop, and it definitely costs all the teams he's been in a lot. And yeah, okay, like Evil Panda Squad or whatever, people said they didn't do well after the changes, but still, I think they should have done a little bit more. He stepped up and he does a lot of damage for his team, and it definitely helps him out. But good start here for Penta. They've done good damage. Good start here to Virtus.pro. Sorry, they've done good damage against Killer Pit, Hacky, as they have made their way up now into the northern side.
Penta are screwed. Virtus.pro read into this so well. They didn't even bother to sort of, you know, group up on that middle road. They set themselves up here on the 0 line so they could fire towards the north. It's almost like they knew Penta were going to do this here. And yeah, they're going to keep that WZ and IS3 combination, or sorry, the IS3 and the Bulldog, yes, combination towards the north. They were always going to do that. So Penta had to push into that for starters, and they've put a massive speed bump in front of Penta, pushing towards the north. Now you can see those IS3s folding more towards the middle. The 5100s grouped up here, the Dead Zone and the Multi-Show, always sort of those two and those 5100s can be effective, but as you said, they've got to be in the right spot here.
Yeah, but Breakneck's just put himself in a bit of an awkward position. Left, right, and centre, he can get shot by Messig, the dead zone, and New Multishow, as he is going to back out. One more shot will come out for Messig. Just track him. Has to use that second repair kit, I do believe. And Coca-Cola and Pavel are getting frustrated, and that's going to cause Messig and Killerpit to try and back up their team.
So you can see Pavel, as you said, moving into position. Coca-Cola as well. Going to head over that hill. They actually want to go for these guys. They want to try and take on these 5100s head-to-head. Hacky will go down now as Kusok picks him up, and this northern assault here for Penta is starting to fall apart as Kusok able to avoid a heck of a lot of damage. In fact, all of it thus far, putting a lot back on towards Raging Potato and Raven HR. Karitz there with his damage to supplement is very, very good. New Multishow now has to break ranks and try and run away because the dead zone's been picked up already by Just Cause. Virtus Pro jumped on those 25100s. They knew that they were alone. They knew that they only had each other for backup, and they're getting chunked straight on down. Virtus Pro again making mincemeat of Penta, Killerpit and Messig, the last two standing, and they are so far away from each other. There's no way they can assist one another. And Virtus Pro are going to go through this round without losing a single tank.
Yeah, Virtus Pro really done their homework this round. They've just played fantastically, and Killerpit is going to get taken down finally by Coca-Cola. Last man remaining for Penta Sports, and Virtus Pro put their third round now on the board for Ruinberg and just absolutely annihilated Penta Sports there. Super simple stuff. They saw those 25100s alone. They put the 25100s alone down there with an IS-3. They had the LTTB in the background, so Penta Sports pushed around the great DPM of the LTTB just there, pestering those AMX 5100s constantly. And then, you know, you had all those other elements of the 5100 being there, the IS-3 being there, just closing in and finishing off the game. I
mean, it was tough really for Penta in that round. It never really seemed like they had the advantage. They had, excuse me, they had a good start, I guess, pushing towards it north, but this is where things started to fall apart. Virtus Pro got so much early damage on them, ridiculous amounts, and this pushing towards the middle as well. You can see on the minimap, it's forcing Penta out onto the field, right into the guns of the extra IS-3 of Bishop and the LTTB of Just Cause.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really the perfect kind of split up there from Virtus Pro. They pushed Penta into an awkward position. I think Penta should have probably gone the other way and had Messig and Killerpit take care of Coca-Cola instead of pushing straight up that middle road and going into the sights of Virtus Pro. Maybe they didn't expect that LTTP to be where it was, but going through the damage, Messig only one hitting above 1k, 1.1 from him, and Coca-Cola and Just Cause doing 1.6. And you can see, you know, that Just Cause factor, the man that was sitting in the Eastern Village doing 1.6k in his LTTB, yep. So he also picked up 3 kills. So a massive plays from him. Really easy stuff, just sitting there, getting easy penetrations through the 5100s. Now, that's it. You know, we've had Ruinberg, a good showing from Virtus Pro, 3 very easy rounds for them. Going to be moving on to Mines. We saw, you know, Penta against Ding on this map. Super close. Penta did very well to play that map well, coming back from all sorts of weird situations. It really does seem to suit them in those light tank positionings, especially on that hill. They like to get those engagements, those 1 versus 1 situations. So if Penta's going to make a comeback, they need to make it now. They need to win 3-1.
You can see the round that Virtus Pro did actually drop, of course, on Ruinberg being the first one. Again, it was just something that Penta did to catch them off guard, to take them by surprise. And Penta, we've seen them with some nice adaptations on the map of Mines here. They really need to kick that up a notch. They really need to take Virtus Pro by surprise, throw something at them that they haven't seen before. And the beauty of it is that, you know, we're still early on into the 754 format. We're still starting to see new things every week, in fact. And Penta have to come up with something here that all they need to, you know, get those advantages against Virtus Pro early on in the map. Virtus Pro understand what it's like to go against Penta. They know what they have to do. They just have to not lose their tanks cheaply, not be, you know, overconfident. Virtus Pro's confidence in this game comes from sitting back, being confident that they can take their time, not confident that they can push forward and get into a mess early on, because that's where teams lose those crucial leads early. And it's just Virtus Pro just simply saying, okay, so at the beginning of the map, we're going to do this. If that doesn't happen, we're just going to move into our next thing. So it's very easy from Virtus Pro, especially in Ruinberg. You don't have to drive very far to actually getting these positions. So you have that zero line push, like you have a tank there. If you don't spot anything by X time, you just go back into a default position and then you react further on. You know, maybe you go to the right side if you're expecting a northern push. So, you know, that's how it works when you're on the defense, especially on a map like Ruinberg. But yeah, Mines, it looks like both Kusok and Killerpit will be playing the artilleries. You know, a staple on Mines these days. Absolutely. One of my favorite factors, definitely. Those artilleries really will, you know, define which team could possibly walk away with a few rounds here. Be interested to see how that one plays out, of course. And Melly, Mines is always a fun map for us here, but might not be so fun for Penta right now. They're staring down the barrel of a 1-3 deficit.
No, but I found Twitch chat's reaction pretty fitting, actually. They loved the first round from Penta, and they hated the third round. That's like the disparity of Twitch chat. And also in play of Penta, I mean, we saw brilliant stuff from them, and then it kind of went downhill from there on. I don't know if they have troubles with dealing with the pressure or the stakes in this game, but on this end, they should be professional enough to kind of work with it. But yes, currently the vote is 80% for Virtus Pro people. As soon as we head into the second map, the vote will be closed, so get in your last second votings.
I saw tweets from Carmen as well. He's like, forget about this round if you're a Penta fan.
Just ignore it.
Well, it sucks because the first round, like if we think about it, yeah, Penta won it, but I mean, Raven had to go ham to win it. You know what I mean? Yep. Like Penta were taking the same lineup on the same map and getting the same result as well. It's just not really going to work out for them. The next map's going to be interesting though, as we've already spoken about between these two teams. Mine's one that we've seen both these teams be strong on. Strangely enough, it's not Penta's pick, which it has been in a lot of their match weeks here. It's going to be Virtus Pro. So I mean, let's have a look at this one at least. Let's give you guys a preview of the map of Mines.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations. But the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village and the other one is in the water. The key directions here are the hill and the island. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets.
All right, Mines it is now to kick things off here in this second map, and Penta have some serious rounds to make up. M44s for both sides here, not going with the fast-firing FVs. What else stands out to you about these lineups?
A normal lineup from Penta Sports, the two IS3s of 4 T54 lightweights and the M44, and the MX6100 triple IS3 double T54 lightweights M44 for Virtus Pro. So really normal standard lineups on this map. Standard start as well, a little bit of damage onto the pushing tanks of Penta, but a big shot, brilliant play by Kusok to land that one. Just takes Raven super low at this early stage.
Yeah, I mean, Raven, like, he probably thought he was in the clear, taking 2 shots, pushing up on the hill. He thought it'd be fine, but the artillery of Kusok doing some serious work. And now maybe Virtus Pro smelling blood in the water, thinking that they have an advantage here. They're just going to push onto this hill, and they're going to be able to force Penta off. If Penta don't get off this hill, they're dead. They are in deep trouble here. And you can see now, Raging Potato and Messick trying to get some free damage in towards Bishop, and they do. About 1,000 gets shaved off of him. But Virtus Pro, they won't stop. This column of IS3s just keeps pushing forward. The dead zone now, you can see him sheepishly rolling backwards off of that hill. And now Virtus Pro set up camp. This is their home right now. They've taken it by force, and they're not going anywhere. Yeah,
bad play by Raven there. He knew that the push was coming from Virtus Pro, got caught out and taken down. So that's not good. Penta, really bad start for them. They did good damage to the pushing tanks on the hill, but they need to work it if they can actually win this one. I'm not sure. Let's be honest here as well. You know, when you see a defensive team get that hill by a really strong push, it's so hard for the attackers to actually come away with a win. As Raging Potato finds out why, you can just do great damage to the tanks that want to push up again.
Message cops one as well. So both those IS3s of Penta are limping away now. Huge amounts of damage. And a new multi-show trying to get cute over towards the south side of this map, but he finds himself faced against one of the biggest players in the EQ scene. And Pavel is in one of his favorite tanks, a 5100. New multi-show isn't in his favorite tank, and he's going to get taken down now. Does put a bit of damage on towards Pavel, but really just getting a little bit too big for his boots.
Yeah, this is going to be really hard now for Penta to get back from. You know, I think Raging Potato will get taken down by Breakneck Bishop, and Kokolo do push. Does get slowed down a little bit by Breakneck because he does get tracked.
That's right. In fact, it was an arty shot as well from Killer Pits, who wasn't able to penetrate with that one there, which is a shame. So a lot of damage going by the wayside, and Virtus Pro still haven't lost a tank. They are looking in prime form right now, stronger than they have been all season. And Penta, unfortunately, are on the receiving end of this resurgence from the Polar Bears. You can see Coca-Cola now pushing around the corner. He's looking for Hacky, the dead zone as well. And the other lightweight is towards the southern side. He would be like to be picking up an arty at this stage, but we know Pavel will be waiting for him right there. There's really nothing Penta can do here. And Virtus Pro, again, keeping up a very, very strong 10 trend of not losing any tanks on this map. Breakneck will get the finish on Hacky. The dead zone is taking a lot of damage here in the north. He's going towards Pavel. Pavel was set on fire, I think, but it won't be enough. As Kusok at close range gets the cheeky shot with an M44 to add insult to injury.
Yeah, that was a really one-sided round. I think at the beginning, you could see what happened. You know, early damage onto Raven, 500, and you know they got the perfect exchange, the perfect start you want on Mines as a defensive team. Early damage onto the tanks, they're pushing up the hill. Your artillery also hits a shell. Virtus Pro knew they could kill Raven within a matter of seconds, so they just push up, take advantage of the fact they're taking one tank low, and then you can just bully Penta, and then Penta, of course, will have to rotate, try and take back the hill. VirtusPro have the perfect setup for that. And you got to remember as well, VirtusPro, last time they played Penta, won 4 rounds in a row of mines. And it's not surprising that they managed to pick up mines, and why they've picked up mines here against Penta if they did have such a good run of success.
It's also the psychological factor as well, as picking into a map that Penta know that they got creamed on last time. You can see Pavel there just dealing with new multi-show. This was pretty much well and truly after things had fallen apart for Penta. And the difference between this time and last time that Penta played up against Virtus.pro is they don't have 4 rounds to lose before this game is over. We're already on match point now at 4-1. And Penta, they've got to change things up right now because, as an attacking team, to get shoved off the hill by a defensive team means you've made a big slip up in those first stages. Yep. The damage coming down towards Raven from Kusok was excessive, and then you could see that with these 4 IS3s, these big lineups, the Virtus.pro just go where they please.
Exactly, and I think Penta, they didn't quite keep Virtus.pro on that hill. Like, they needed to track, systematically take down the IS3s that are pushing on the hill. They needed to have those tanks that were on the hill, providing good firepower onto the pushing tanks. I think as well, Penta's lineup, yeah, okay, they got the hill, but not with enough tanks to be able to rotate around or push from the Lighthouse Island. So you had all these kind of factors as well, which Penta had one plan, which was easily overtaken by just a pure monstrosity that was Virtus.pro's lineup there. So yeah, match point here for Penta. Of course, if they do lose this match, they won't be out of the playoffs, pre-playoffs entirely. They'll just be going down to the losers bracket.
Absolutely. So they still have a chance to come back, but there is no match. There's no conceivable match in this bracket that is an easy one for Penta. Yep. Yes, they snuck through into these playoffs, but the downside of that is you have to go up against teams who fought their way and deserved to be there, sort of fought their way over the course of the season and now there. And Melly, of course, a lot of Penta fans, sort of their anguish is being expressed in chat. A lot of people obviously unhappy about their team.
And also in pictures and on Twitter. Use the hashtag WGLEU to send us fan art that pretty much expresses your feelings. But this time someone sent us something nice. It's Dancing Kitty. I can't pronounce his nickname, but it translates to Dancing Kitty pretty much. And he always makes us happy with awesome memes, fan art,
is
even
that Dancing
videos.
Kitty? Is it Imprez?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
He taught me Imprezovikotek.
There you go. Thank you, Imprez. Yes. Ollie likes to use cojones. I like to use habanero. We're spicing it up here. It's getting hot in here, right? It's funny because
it's hot outside. It's like 30 degrees.
Yeah, I know. And when we start at 2 p.m. as well on a Saturday, the heat is just coming down, so you can see already. And I'm sweaty as heck, but it's all right because the games are probably adding to that just as much as anything. It's more the effort of trying to make sounds. Obviously, with my throat now is obviously, as you can probably tell, is not there.
Too much habanero sauce, mate.
Too much habanero. I do like a bit of habanero actually. The other day though, someone snuck into my salsa of a full habanero chili on the top, and I ate it.
I love spicy food.
So much regret.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I like spicy food as well, but habanero stuff, that's next level.
You know the salsa from our favorite burrito store, where they ask you 3 times if you're sure that you want to pick that one?
The Inferno one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do love it.
They always
makes
look
you
at
cry.
me. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Wow.
Bit of spice in your life, always good.
And the vote ended in 81%.
Okay, so obviously after the first match was done, the second match started, vote was closed. So 81% Virtus.pro seems fair enough, I think, looking at this one. Penta, as up and down as they have been this season, I've been quite critical of them as well, to the point where Hacky's been like, are you okay, bro? We still friends? Is this a thing? I'm like, yeah, of course, but, they have definitely had some big highs and some lower lows right now. They do need to overcome a distinct deficit here against Virtus.pro if they want to make it through. And I mean, it's going to be a big job for them right now. We need to see something different from them here.
It's really sad to see because it's a team full of potential.
Yep. All individually such incredible players as well. It just takes time for them to meld. Look at Virtus.pro's been together for so long, Ollie. Yeah,
Virtus.pro has been a team since basically season 1 of the Wargaming League Europe, when it was called the World of Tanks Pro League Europe. But so, they've been along, they've been around, they've done what is required. They've always managed to get themselves to the finals. They've won 2 of them and came second at a grand final. So, this is a team that's been tried and tested. This is a team that does step up when it's necessary, despite, perhaps underperforming in quite a few tournaments in the past. Now, I think Virtus.pro is going to be able to, win this whole series. But Penta Sports are still in it. They need to get a few rounds on the board, and they have started here by pushing onto Kusok.
All right, aggressive initial push here towards Kusok. They'll be able to pick him up very quickly, and now Pavel is going to be in their sights. He has been lit. They're going to go straight towards him here. This is how Penta win their rounds. They get that initial aggression. They get those big tanks off the table early on in the piece and let them run rampant elsewhere. But Virtus.pro, they're responding to this as well. Couple of 54 lightweights want to push off the middle of the map, and there goes Pavel. 2 casualties very, very quickly for Virtus.pro, and Penta off to a good start, but they've got nothing to lose.
Message just taking a bit of damage there. Probably just didn't expect such an aggressive move there from Virtus.pro, but yeah, New Nexi, Just Cause, and Karitz all pushing in. These 2 IS3 should have been able to take care of them, but because of Message mistake at the beginning, still Virtus.pro will be able to do some fantastic work against Raging Potato.
That's right, they're going to try and group up on towards him, and the rest of Penta can't really assist in this regard. He gets a killer pit off in that artillery, can't do anything, and now he's going to get jumped on by a lightweight as well. He will drop down as Karitz gets the pickup, and Raging Potato is going to deal with Just Cause and New Nexi here at very, very close range. He might get the finish on one of those IS3s, as New Nexi isn't able to get the finish on Raging Potato.
A massive mistake by New Nexi. He had to take down Raging Potato. Raging Potato does get a low roll though. That's good. That's good news for him. He has to land. He doesn't even land that next shell. And that's 2 bounces, 2 misses for New Nexi.
New Nexi with 1 point of health there. It was such an important shot for him to make, but he unfortunately fluffed it. Will he have another chance? He will. Raven doesn't connect the shot. New Nexi is gifted that opportunity on a silver platter, and he gets the finish towards Killer Pit, and that might have just done it for Penta Sports. That might be the final nail in the coffin here. As you can see, 2 IS3s might push off the top of the hill. The Coca-Cola going on a wild ride straight down towards the bottom. He wants a shot into the dead zone. Very stylish as he slides on through, and he gets the finish. Only 2 tanks left. Make that one. Hacky, the last man standing, is going to go down. Karitz will find him here, and there goes Penta Sports' hopes of qualifying today.
Exactly. They can still go through the lower bracket, but I think to be expected, Virtus.pro will be the next one to go through to the winners bracket semi-final. So they deserved it. I think they played well after that first round. They got themselves sorted. They needed that little kick up the bum at the start to get them in gear, get them that Virtus.pro. And Virtus.pro plow, and the Virtus.pro plow also applies to water tanks. So yeah, I think they did everything that was required. Even when being down in that last round at the beginning, taking the 5100 and the M44, they just knew what to do, push aggressive, take down those 2 IS3s, take down the M44, easy stuff. It's good actually, Virtus.pro, what they did. We've spoken about one of their weaknesses is sort of freezing up or choking when something different gets done to them, but they lost Pavel, they lost that M44, but they do, they just push off the hill. They were already in a commanding enough position on the map to go straight for, I guess, the heart of Penta. Go take out that artillery, push on towards Killer Pit, get rid of those 2 IS3s as they had the overmatch there. So they said, okay, we're going to lose Kusok, we're going to lose Pavel, but we're going to inflict that same thing towards Penta, and they do have those extra IS3s as they generally bring in towards the mix, and at the end of the day, even with New Nexi sort of missing a few questionable shots there, they still got through, honestly, fairly comfortably. Yeah, and Killer Pit did the most damage that round of the M44, 1.4k, so that really just show you that, despite that aggression from Penta, it just wasn't enough. So you can see the final moments. I think the problems here, Message just... Oh, that's a big shell. That was one of the bigger ones from Killer Pit. Yeah, but Message just taking too much damage. If those 2 IS3s had just been slightly more forwards and just keeping Karitz, New Nexi, and Just Cause at bay, making good connections alongside Killer Pit's shot, I think these 2 would have been able to hold on to this round until those until the 3 T4 lightweights from the south do manage to get all the way to help them. Yeah, that's right. Raging Potato held on for a while, but really by the time those extra lightweights got to the fight, it was too little, too late. And Penta now, a tough game for them, really. 5-1 to start things off here. Can demoralize you, but Penta know they do have a second bite of the apple. So this is the bracket here. Penta move into the lower bracket. We'll see them tomorrow. And Virtus.pro move on towards the semi-finals, and they'll be playing in our last game of the day. And our next match is going to be an absolute blockbuster. Kazna Crew versus Synergy. Last time they met, Kazna Crew had Synergy's measure, but things have changed. It's a long season. It's been about 8 or 9 weeks since they last went head-to-head, and a lot has changed. Yeah, Synergy's improved tenfold. With the changes to, for instance, Stalker being removed from the lineup, John Corleone, the guy that's in charge now, they haven't lost a game basically, and they've got 2 5-0s in those results. So they've been absolutely on form. They've been dominant. And yeah, okay, Kazna Crew had that 5-1 result last time they saw them play against each other. But I think this is going to be a whole new ball game. We're playing up with higher stakes. I think Synergy a lot better. I think Kazna Crew have dropped slightly. So I think this is going to be an amazing game.
Kazna Crew, for them to make this final and not miss it, they have got to fight through the online phase. This is just the way it has to be right now. Melly, next game's going to be incredible. Penta still have a chance. It's not all doom and gloom for them right now, but VPro looking strong as usual.
But it's a straight hit to their morale, I guess. It's going to be really tough for them. But yeah, so next match, Kazna Crew versus Synergy. The vote is already up, so head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WGLEU, to vote for your favorite team by choosing the team logo and then predicting the exact scoreline in the little how's it called? Text field. Sorry, text field below, and then sending it off, hoping you're one of the 5 fastest to guess the correct prediction. And if you're lucky enough, you might win a bonus code. Other way of getting involved is, of course, via Twitter at WGLEU. You should definitely follow our Twitter account to stay updated during the matches if you can't follow the stream, and also for news and streaming notifications and everything else. We provide you with a lot of information over there, and also WGLEU facts. Once a day they're released. Pretty cool. Interesting insight to the teams.
Some interesting facts, actually.
Yes, and yeah, you should definitely check those social media platforms out. And of course, if you want to rewatch all the VODs from the former match days from the past season, which is lying behind us, still makes me sad. Head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WGLEU, and of course subscribe to get a notification as soon as we upload new video content. And people will be heading into a short break, and we'll be hopefully back with you guys in front of your computers for Kazna Crew versus Synergy.